I had made a deal with George Lucas on the beaches of Hawaii that he said, look, Steve, if you do this first movie, you've got to do 2 more. And you've got to do 3 altogether. And I shook his hand in 1977, in May of 77. So whether or not I wanted to in my heart make a follow-up to Indiana Jones, I had a handshake with my best friend. I was going to make 2 more movies. And it was a perfect opportunity to create a series of adventure films.
Indiana Jones is episodic. Each film itself is its own unique reality. And you don't really want to carry ideas over from one movie to the other. So one of the things we decided is that we didn't want to have Nazis in it. We wanted to deal with something else. And so it was easier to move it backwards than forwards in time. And we wanted to avoid, why isn't Karen Allen in the picture? We loved her. If it was afterwards, then you sort of have to deal with that. And if it's before, you don't have to deal with it at all. But basically, in terms of the main parts of the story, it wasn't a continuation at all.
Temple of Doom fell into George's philosophy that because in the Star Wars trilogy, Empire Strikes Back was the darker of the 2 stories, George wanted the Indiana Jones series to follow a similar sine wave where we would dip into a kind of inner world or inner sanctum of darkness and human sacrifice with this whole Cali cult thing that George came up with for the second installment of this adventure trilogy.
With Star Wars, like any story, things get bad before they get better. And by the nature of the fact that was one story that had been split into 3 parts, the middle part is the darkest part. In Indiana Jones, because they're separate, it was really a matter of saying, why don't we make a little edgier movie? Make it a little bit darker, a little bit more scary.
I wasn't really okay with that. I kind of resisted it. But George was tenacious that he wanted the second one to be dark, and I was worried it would be commercial enough. And it wasn't as commercial as the first one and the third one. But George thought it was an important thing that he wanted to do, and I certainly deferred to George's better judgment because he had seen this 3-movie arc, and this is what he wanted to do, and I was his director for hire. I was very happy to help realize his vision.
Wake up, Dr. Jones! Wake up!
Temple of Doom is definitely a tougher movie, but it was tougher intentionally. Pulling somebody's heart out, it had been done quite a bit before. And, the fact that the children were in jeopardy had been done a lot before. So these weren't ideas that were, oh my gosh, we're stepping over a line here. We're doing things that people have always done. The point is that we did it better than anybody else did, which made it even more intense.
And cut. The action scenes in all 3 of these movies have been easy to come up with, but we had this big roller coaster, sort of mine train chase, actually in Raiders of the Lost Ark, in the quarry, in the big mine quarry, that I cut out because it was just too much to shoot in the time that I was given to make this movie. And that did carry over to Temple of Doom because it had been sitting out there and it was a really cool scene, so we just transplanted it from the first movie to the second movie. What we want to do is, once they hit this part, we're going to have a flamethrower. Something can shoot up from both sides of the car, back there and back there. And it was also symbolic of a lot of what the critics were saying about these movies. These are e-ticket rides, they kept saying, like at Disneyland. I guess they meant Thunder Mountain or Space Mountain. So George and I kind of said, well, why don't we give them a roller coaster ride? Let's give them an actual e-ticket ride, and that's how they get out of the darkness. Temple of Doom got terrible reviews, and Raiders, of course, got great reviews, and Last Crusade got terrific reviews, but Temple of Doom didn't do very well. The reviews were awful.
It's not the most fun of the movies, and I like some of the other ones better, personally. But at the same time, I like it. I'm more of a humor guy than a dark guy.
Very funny. Ha, ha, ha. I liked a lot of the movie, but the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my life came out of the Temple of Doom experience, and that is that the girl I cast to play Willie Scott, turned out to be my wife.
Wow!
So, in a sense, I owe more than I can ever express to that experience for introducing me to Kate Capshaw. But all 4 of the Indiana Jones films have been a blast to make. I mean, don't get me wrong, whether the stories are dark or not, they're really a lot of fun. We have a lot of laughs, and we always have the audience in mind for these stories.
We are going to die!